So I always love those guys. I had a soft spot for those guys. Always been a secret PoE lover, of course. That sounded so weird.
Yeah, it did. Intro.
Now, here's your hosts, the League Dad, Kevin, Mitchell, and Alistair.
What's up, gamers, and welcome to another episode of the All In Podcast. I'm the League Dad, and we took a break last week, and just like that, here we are again because the summer split is about to start, and so we're here to give you our thoughts on all the teams, some of the moves that happen, and just our general feelings heading into the split. But of course, first we got to introduce the awesome co-host. First up, we got Kevin. Kevin, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Learned to play Mahjong this weekend, so that was fun. Got my ass kicked, but other than that, it's been pretty slow at work, so not a bad week.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's cool. I've tried learning that game before. I never could learn, but I always heard it's more fun when you gamble, because otherwise, what's the point of playing, right? Like, it's like when people play poker, but not for money. I'm like, that kind of takes out the whole point of like playing poker because nobody really has any risk. But yeah, pretty cool game. Alistair, how are you? I know you were in LA. You want to shed a little light on that, as much or as little as you want. But let me just say, this guy right here, we are in the presence of greatness right now because my man got to be on the LCS stage and check out all the sites and stuff.
I didn't because of COVID things, but
you weren't able to. Okay.
No, some teams weren't able to due to COVID regulations. But long story short, I was in LA on Riot's dime this past week for CLOL championships, so collegiate. We ended up dropping out in semis, but I mean, we had a lot of fun. Got to travel LA and didn't have to pay for it, so overall great time. Got to meet up with some people: Kobe, Captain Flowers, Raz.
It was crazy.
That's awesome, man.
That's so cool.
Did you tell them about the All In Podcast? That's all I really care. I mean, I know they were dying to get more content, for League, but hey, that's cool. They're pretty good. I mean, they got a pretty good podcast thing going on over there. Well, I'm glad that you made it back safe. I'm glad you had a good experience. I'm telling you, the pictures that he was posting, he had all the TSM trophies, and that brought back memories. And so pretty happy. I'm happy for you, man. Like, I know it didn't work out exactly how you wanted it to work out, but still cool nonetheless. You've gotten a lot closer to those trophies than I probably ever will, so that's awesome. Mitchell, how are you doing up in Seattle? Are you still on break, or is it boot camp time?
No, it's boot camp time.
Snap.
I've been in it for a week or so. It's been very easy. Nothing really going on so far in the early stages. But yeah, it's been very chill. There's bunnies that hop into my front yard, and I just watch my dog chase them. It's actually really fun. I feel like I'm living in like the countryside. It's kind of crazy. There's chickens like down the street too. So
wow,
it's been a big change of pace from San Jose. I'll say that much.
For sure, man. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that you're getting all started. And at least they didn't start you off too fast, because it's better to at least ease into it than be hit all at once and then try to play catch up.
I'm kind of bored, so honestly, I would have taken.
Oh, you're ready.
They just hit us
this
fast.
man's ready.
Yeah, I'm pretty bored. So
all right,
but it's okay.
Be careful. Be careful be careful what you wish for. Next week he's gonna be like, oh my gosh, and check ramped up and like it's crazy now. But nah, that's cool, man. All right, let's talk about some LCS. I was starting to ramble on this before we even started recording, but I got to start with this take. And again, I'd love to get your thoughts, whether you agree, disagree, or what. And let me know out there, for those listening, what you think. But for me personally, I was telling the guys here that I am actually not that hyped for the beginning of this summer split. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, one, I feel like, there's no lock-in, so there's really no kind of hype thing for it. But two, I also think because how we saw last season play out, where, there's 8 teams that make the playoffs out of 10. Like, it's a good shot that you're going to be in there. And you had teams like EG who were playing like crap the whole season. 100 Thieves were playing crap the whole season. And in the end, it didn't even matter in the season, because when it came to playoff time, those teams performed probably what we thought they would perform like in the beginning of the season. It just took them all season to get there. But it pretty much worked out, I think, as we had predicted. And so the reason why I am not as excited is because, honestly, there may be a few ups and downs during the season, but in the end, I think it's still going to be the same narrative. The top 4 teams that were here, this or last split are going to be the same for this split. Worlds, that can be debated, top 3, who's that going to be? But I think for the most part, everything's going to play out the way it played out before. I don't think there's going to be too much deviation. So for me, it's more smaller storylines, I guess, and developing storylines that happen in some of these roster changes, but I'm just not that excited. So let me get your thoughts. Are you hype? Am I just being crazy, or what is it? I don't know. Tell me.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped because this is the biggest patch that we've seen in literally years, like maybe 5 years at least, right? I think, or 4 years. The last biggest patch I could think of was like the Mage's bot patch, and that didn't affect the whole game. It only affected bot lane for the most part, right? So to me, I'm like, this is huge. I get to see a whole new video game. We've already seen some of it in LPL, and I think LCK might have already started too. We've already seen some games elsewhere, right? It's pretty cool, but I want to see what NA is going to bring. And for me, as a Liquid fan, I want to see if, was it a fluke last season, playoffs, or did they get their crap together in the last 2 months, right? They've had almost 2 months just to practice and actually work on things. So are they going to still, not synergize well? Will Belveth still be tilted, or can we see superstars? I'm also somewhat excited to see if TSM is going to actually be in the top 4 contention, just because they are upgrading. They're not as unstable as they were last. Well, you can't be as unstable as it was before. So they
nowhere to go but up.
We'll talk about later in our power rankings, but they were 9th last season, almost 10th, right? Only by the graces of Immortals could they avoid being 10th place in their history. So I think there's a lot of storylines to follow. I will agree, top 8 going to playoffs is stupid.
Yeah,
but it's like a participation award. Like, what is that? But I'm so excited. I always love it when a new split starts, especially when the patch is so huge.
That's true. I'll give you that. The patch that does make it somewhat interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely with Kevin. I think I'm excited just because new patch. My worry is it just becomes very boring, no deaths until 25 minutes, LCK stereotype. I don't think that'll be the case. Just because the game has developed a lot more and people are a lot better at punishing that sort of play. That's my prediction. But I mean, obviously, I'm more biased as an AD carry player, so I think we're gonna get to see a lot more of these AD carry pop off moments, just because there's more opportunity to do it, because you don't click once wrong and just die instantly.
Yeah.
We're also going to get to see a lot of champions that we haven't seen in a while in pro play. I'm hoping. So, when was the last time you saw Kog'Maw?
Yeah, that's true.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I'm certainly looking forward to a lot of the new champs. There's a couple storylines I'm interested in, and specific players, which we'll get to. But that's how I feel about it personally.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's gonna be fun. I think it'll be cool. The new patch is obviously the most exciting thing, but if we were to pretend that it wasn't a new patch, I would kind of be on the same boat. But honestly, this year for me is different. Like I felt definitely the fatigue in previous years. Like, all right, start of the split, we got a whole thing going, and then I'm just waiting for playoffs, right? But I mean, last split we had EG kind of upset in playoffs. Yeah, regular split didn't matter too much, but the script doesn't have to go that way the whole time, and the fact that EG is now like a real contender to win stuff instead of just a contender to beat people in the top 4, I do think that the build up to playoffs is going to be more interesting than usual, just because of that idea that instead of just like actually top 3 of like C9, Team Liquid, and then 100 Thieves, there's EG is legitimately in there, which I think is really cool. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, I feel like it's just sports, right? Like you just get that every year. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. It's kind of like the season is just kind of going through the motions, and that's what I mean. Like I will be excited when it gets closer to playoff time, but
yeah,
in particular, like what made me upset is that like I guess when I looked at EG and 100 Thieves at the beginning of Spring Split, with the lock-in and everything, like I was hype on those two teams because I thought they would do well. I mean, everybody thought EG was going to do super well from the get-go, and they did in the lock-in at first, but then the regular season, like it's almost like it didn't matter. Like it didn't do anything, right? And even though they ended 5th or 6th, I think, in the regular season standings, like when they hit playoffs, they just turned on another mode. Same with 100 Thieves. And so to me, like, I'm just not as hyped. Like if a team does, like if after week 1 I see like, I don't know, Team Liquid pop off and be as good as like we've ever seen them, like I'm not going to be so excited because at the end, like I know it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. These kind of best of ones, like teams aren't really trying, like, and especially the good teams. I really don't think that they're putting that much. Or not, I don't want to say they're not putting effort, but I'm saying they're experimenting. They're just kind of getting their groove. You can't put too much weight in the beginning, is all I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think teams these days are just too smart now. Like they get that it's a marathon. They get the strategy. Like we're long past the days, unless maybe you're a bad team, of putting all of your effort into like the regular season
Right.
and burning out for playoffs. Like teams are just too smart for that. So I definitely think that's like a symptom of just, professional play and our format. Like best of ones maybe sell better in America and in English speaking countries, but yeah, for competitiveness, I mean, it's always been best of threes are better,
Yeah.
and those are more interesting because you get a whole set. So top 8, yeah, I mean, it's been good on for a couple years now. It's kind of just been like, I mean, we'll see some cool stuff. We hope the patches are neat, but then we're just kind of chilling, seeing if any team can break in and look interesting, and then hopefully not get rolled in best of 5s.
Yeah.
So, I think it's just the nature of sports to an extent. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And so like, I guess what we'll do is we'll just go down the list and we'll start right, like who we think number 1 is going to be. I think we should do like how we think they'll end up, because honestly, power rankings to me mean nothing now, because in the end of the day, like how is our roster, how is the league going to look at the end when it's all said and done, when it actually matters, right? When we're talking about world's contention, we're talking about playoffs, top 3, top 4. That's who I want to know who you think will end up there. And so we'll just start at number 1. Who do you think is going to take it all? Number 1 in, in this split. Let's start there.
So clarify, are you saying including playoffs or just number 1 at the end of like regular season?
No, I would say
I have 2 different answers for those.
I would say end of all the playoffs. Like this is how it ranks. And I guess to an extent, since only 3 go to Worlds, then we'll just, talk about those 3 and then hit the rest after that. But yeah, I would like to say that, because when it's all said and done, honestly, that's what matters, right? Like it doesn't matter what your ranking is now or at the end of the season. It matters at the end when it's done. So that's a good question though. All right, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, the least controversial take in the world.
I already know.
Going to win the seasons. I mean, obviously, I always think that, almost always. I'll give it a little bit more stuff. The team hasn't changed at all. A lot of other teams have made some changes, including top teams, including like C9 have made big changes, but like it's got the same roster. I think that it's almost impossible for the team not to hit Worlds, and their expected value should be winning the split. So unless they, again, just don't play well and they just don't have synergy, which super teams do that. So Liquid first.
Yep. Not a big surprise, Kevin, but I like it. Team Liquid all the way. All right, what about you?
I voted them to lose a series last year, and I was right. Or last split.
True.
So I'm kind of torn between 2 teams, truthfully. And when I said I have 2 answers, I'm going to get them both out. I think at the end of regular season itself, Cloud9 is going to be number 1.
Ooh, okay.
Which I know that's not something people would ever expect me to say, but I think that they're going to have a better top laner, a better mid laner, and a better support, and they were already decent.
Okay.
I think Fudge is going to be Fudge better than Summit because Fudge isn't going to go 17 deaths in a series.
True.
I think that Jensen is a better mid laner than Fudge was. And I think that Sven, even though he's off role, he already played support, and it's not really like support's that hard of a role in comparison to most other roles. So I think he's just going to have more experience. He might not be better than Isles or Winsome right away, but I definitely think that it will get to that point. But when it comes to actually winning the whole thing, I would still stick with EG.
Okay.
Same reason as Kevin. I mean, maybe it'll change. Maybe it will seem like it was a fluke. I don't know, but EG is not changing at all. They got more experience at MSI. and they kind of just raffle stomped everyone in playoffs. So that's the best I got for that, really.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it? They look good in MSI. I do think there might be that slump though, which is typical, but I think you're right. But when it's all said and done, yeah, for sure, EG. All right, what about you, Mitchell?
Yeah. What about
He's
me?
coming in
Yeah,
with FlyQuest. I'm just kidding.
That'd be crazy. Bring me back to what 2020. I'm down.
Yeah.
But
Philip will be the new faker.
Yes.
The shy.
Yeah, no, maybe. Hey, maybe. I mean, Philip. Who knows? He goes Super Saiyan on stage. We have no idea. But Cloud9. I mean, Senna's meta, right? And Sven gets to play support.
Oh.
Does he even play support? I don't know.
Right?
Maybe we see
I know.
Berserker Tom Kent. It'd be funny.
Oh my god, what a waste of talent. But anyway.
Oh my gosh, that would be nuts.
Like anything could happen these days.
You're right, though.
And so yeah, I mean, I like that take because honestly, I was thinking last split when we were having these conversations, like there's no way Cloud9 is like they can make a roster change that will actually push them into or top 3 to go to Worlds. And then they actually found a roster, and I'm like, oh crap, okay, I could do it. I could do it. So I like that first place in regular season thing. I actually think they're probably top 2. I don't know about first place exactly, but probably top 2. And I think that this roster will go to Worlds. I can't doubt Jensen ever. When he's on a roster, I'm like, he's going to Worlds. Like that looks good. That looks solid to me. So the Cloud9's top 3 for me. Winning the whole thing, I actually don't think EG is going to win the whole thing. I actually think that it wasn't a fluke per se, but they did get a little lucky, right? They got lucky with the Baron steal. I'm just going to be honest. Everyone's thinking it. And they won a bunch of games after that and before that. But I don't know, man. It's just nobody banned their Jinx Ornn. I hope teams aren't that stupid again. So I don't think EG is going to win. I think they're going to go to Worlds. And it's going to be like, who's not going to go to Worlds, right? 100 Thieves or Team Liquid. Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe in Team Liquid. So I think I'm like a C9 or 100 Thieves win here, actually, which is kind of crazy. But I can't believe in Team Liquid right now, honestly. I think we put so much faith in this podcast for them all last split, and it just like completely fell apart. It was so worthless. They got 3-0'd in the saddest way. And Bjergsen, I'm gonna have a super skeptical light on Bjergsen now. I think he's been actually pretty dog shit this whole year. So if he doesn't really pop off and show up, I'm just gonna assume he's washed. I can say he's probably the greatest player in LCS that ever hit 2020, LCS 2020 that year, but this year has not been it at all. And so yeah, those are my kind of top 4 little small things there. Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually have a counterpoint to saying that, Mitchell, about EG personally.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We talk about the meta change, and previously, yes, teams didn't ban Jinx against EG, which big mistake.
Yeah.
And over MSI, we were talking about how Danny kind of got showed that he's not that great off of hyper carries.
Yeah.
Look at the meta we're going into.
It's true.
We're going to hyper carry meta.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
It could be
I think
very different in 2.5 months, though. 2.5-3 months.
Yeah.
that
We'll
is
see.
true.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm torn because I do like the young talent in Danny and JoJo, and I really want to see them succeed because it is exciting, like kind of like the newer faces of NA. But at one hand, I also want to go with the veteranship of Team Liquid because I'm torn because that team should be so good. They should be so good. And like there were only glimpses of it last split. And Core JJ wasn't there, really the whole time. This time he will be, hopefully, and that roster should have the full split to really play with each other. I do kind of agree with you, even though I hate that it's Bjergsen on the decline. I do have that same sentiment. I'm really hoping that's not the case. I think he boot camped in Korea.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know how that ended up, but I'm actually worried about him, and I'm hoping, and I'm also worried about Bwipo too, because towards the end he was not looking good. So I'm hoping they turn that around. But honestly, if that doesn't turn around, then I'm going to have serious questions and doubts heading into playoffs, because it's really showing that they're getting old, or they're just not able to handle the newer talent.
Not even that old. He's like 20.
I know, it's sad to say, but it's like in the in the esport, in the league, and it also it's compounded the fact that he's been playing since he was like, how old, like a teenager, right? So yeah, so it just feels like he's been in for so long. But yeah, I mean, mechanics, all of that stuff, you can lose it so quick, and I'm hoping that's not the case. So I'm Team Liquid, but I'm also not gonna be surprised if I don't see those things change. But so we talked about Team Liquid, talked about C9, talked about EG. What about 100 Thieves? They're another team that's, so C9 made roster changes. EG, Team Liquid stayed the same. 100 Thieves also staying the same. So again, another reason why I'm not super hyped. I know the C9 roster change is good, but the other top teams are the same. So what are your thoughts on them?
I mean, for 100 Thieves, the thing is, like, well, they made the change of Tenacity's just out of the picture, I guess. I haven't talked about him in a while. Right. He might sub him, but someday was playing well. Mm-hmm. I think the bad news for 100 Thieves is there is finally a team that has more tenacity, like literal tenacity than them.
Nice.
In terms of, like, you saw that EG, even at MSI, like, they could just fight back even against world-class teams. Like, sure, they only won one game, but it was off T1. Like, that's pretty impressive. And for the longest time, it felt like 100 Thieves in my mind. And again, I don't like 100 Thieves the way they play that much. It felt like they were coasting off of just like being that consistent team that would be able to like kick it into gear when it hits playoffs, right? Like they would just capitalize off opponents' mistakes. I feel like EG is just like a more modern version of that. They have a lot more spirit, a lot more strategy going in. The only thing I'm concerned about is like, I mean, EG's record against top teams, like teams better than them, is just horrific. Mm-hmm. Internationally, they won once, and domestically, until playoffs, they were just won once. So like, the thing for me, it's like 100 Thieves should have always been a lock for top 3, right? Now that TSM's more or less obliterated, but I think EG might steal that slot. So unfortunately, I think 100 Thieves is getting replaced by EG.
Oh wow! So you're thinking that they're not going to make Worlds?
Yes, I don't think 100 Thieves will make Worlds.
Are you guys with that same sentiment? Because that was going to be my next question, but I mean, we could jump right here since
it's natural.
Yeah, since we're on 100 Thieves, like, is this the team that doesn't make it to Worlds? Alistar, I saw you shaking your head. Yes.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think it's either 100 Thieves or TL who doesn't make it.
I'm on the same boat. Yep, same boat.
Wow.
If I had to lean towards one, I would say TL likely makes it, but at the same time, we have seen how TL has done in the top 4, like the top 4 best of 5s. So it'll be close, I think. I would give TL the benefit of the doubt, but
I mean, 100 Thieves got blasted harder than TL did in finals. Like that was really bad.
100 Thieves made it to finals.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
That's fair.
It's like apples and oranges, right? How hard did you get blasted, but you got farther?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Both
kind of the
lost.
same metric.
It
Really.
wholeheartedly could just break down to what the bracket looks like.
Yeah.
That
it's
could
true
be
too.
the deciding factor.
I mean, like people were capping for T1 that side selection lost them that series, right? So, people will cap for anything at this point.
One of the worst takes of all time. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think it's either 100 Thieves or TL, and I think I've decided. I woke up today and I chose freaking murder. I don't know. TL. I'm gonna be a TL hater this split because I've just been like so down on Bjergsen and kind of on Blippo too. Like I watched some Bjergsen like YouTube clips and some Twitch highlights from his boot camp, and then I watched some like Champions Queue from Blippo, and I mean I know these aren't like to me I was just like, these are not like insane players. Like sometimes I see a player I'm like, this guy's freaking insane, and I watched like maybe 30-40 minutes total of both those guys. I'm like, these guys are consistent, these guys are good, they're pretty smart, but they're just not insane players. And I think that other teams in LCS right now have insane players. So I'm just gonna be super down on them until I see something good.
Almost to me, what it looks like is that they're gonna have to win through their superior like macro shot calling and kind of the strategy or chess game that Core JJ is the brain of, and they win that way, because I don't think, like what you're saying, like I don't think they're gonna win lanes, because I mean bot lane maybe, like I think that definitely has a chance, but the solo lanes, Bwipo and Bjergsen, I don't think they're winning many lanes, honestly. So hopefully with this hyper carry bot lane centric, meta that might develop because of the durability patch, maybe they can win these games through bot, but will it be like that at the end when it's playoff time, when it really counts? And I'm not sure, because it's the laners aren't looking good. So I hate to say that, man, but I just I mean, I really feel like, Kevin, I didn't get your thoughts on C9 because you didn't really talk about them, but C9, I feel like Alistair and Mitchell are putting a lot of weight into their roster changes, as this is going to be a big leap up for them. I'm kind of like, I know it's upgrades, but I don't know if I'm that big on them like that. I want to get your thoughts, Kevin. What do you think about the roster changes on Cloud9? Do you think they're like number one, two?
I mean, if they hit their ceiling, yeah, sure, they could get number one. But like, it's so hard for me to look at two people lane swapping. One of them at least played it before, but he still took a split off, right? And not everyone's Shahus. Not everyone can go top, mid, top and actually do it well. They're just copying the RNG playbook here. Right? And then Zen, like, I do think he's just a better, like, overall league player, right? And that's what matters a lot, especially in roles like support. But, like, he's not even going to get to start out with Berserker. Like, that doesn't mean something.
Yeah. Like, wait, I forgot about that.
Oh. Yeah, again, I did
about that.
So,
all right, I take it back. I take it back. I take it back.
On your turn, you get to take back the first place. So for me, I think C9 will always find a way. I do think that Jensen will probably be the de facto number one mid laner in the league, unless like someone just steps up, like Bjergsen gets his mojo. And I'm saying that with Jensen taking a split off, by the way. Like, yes, he only took one split off, and he was still practicing, it seemed like, during the whole time. Like, he's probably a lot hungrier than he has been for a while, right? When Jensen was kicked off of C9, he came back really strong on Liquid. So I kind of feel very similar about that. But two swaps is too much. I don't think they're going to get first. I think they're going to get third. I think they'll get through. They'll have some ups and downs. Like Berserker will come back. Zen will have to learn how to support again for someone else. And then they'll have enough raw power that like C9 will find a way, right? So I think they'll be third.
Okay, well, for those who don't know, Berserker lost his passport and his visa.
Oh my god!
So I don't know how. That is just like
all mechanics, no brain.
I feel like only in esports would that happen. I feel like only in esports that would happen. Like where our average age of player is like, oops, where did I put that? Yeah, it's kind of important. So
did I need that? No.
Yeah, so that is a factor because he won't be starting the split. So you're right. And so Mitchell, are you amending your answer here now?
Yeah, I'm amending my answer big time. With passports and stuff, especially for like international travel, dude, that stuff is so that's not safe right now with COVID and everything. That is not reliable. That is not fast by any means, right? It took so long for CoreGJ to get over here and to actually be on the team. No, this is big problems for Cloud9 if it takes a long time. And I'm actually just with how CoreGJ works, with how COVID works, and with like my own personal experiences, I'm actually expecting it to take a good chunk. Like I'd be surprised if he was here before week 2 or week 3. That's a big deal to me. It was a big deal to TL maybe last year a little bit if they didn't have Ayla, right? So
that's true.
I don't think they're gonna get it, like unless they're just like their sub ADC is a freaking god, which is it Copy? I forget who C9's bot laner is.
Copy's the mid laner, I believe.
Copy's the mid laner. Damn.
Who's their
King?
AD carry sub?
I think it's King. Right?
Oh, is it still King?
For a while.
Hold on.
Let's see. Because that's who's probably playing for like what 2 weeks minimum.
It's
like if
Wixie. No, King. It's still King.
Okay.
Okay, I was like, who's Wixie?
It's still King.
If it's King, I mean we've seen he played for a while. He's been in the academy for a long time. I think he's pretty good. I don't know if he's like Berserker caliber by any means. So we'll see. I don't think they're gonna get first in regular season or top 2 in regular season anymore. I take it.
But you still think they'll make Worlds? Because it's them or 100
really
Thieves.
Close. I mean, I think it's gonna be really close now.
Okay.
I think like now between Cloud9, 100 Thieves, TL, super close. I'm still gonna say they're making in because Jensen just never missed it, so I'm not gonna bet against that. But I think it's a lot closer than I realized before. Like, dude, that stuff's annoying, especially in a new patch, new meta. That just ruins practice. I feel like, so that's a bummer.
Alistair, do you want to amend your answer, or you still think they're making a Worlds? They're still making it to Worlds.
No.
All right, I like.
I think just the change that they're gonna have more consistent solo lanes, and on top of that, their support, which is what the second most important role on the team, is just a straight up upgrade. I think that's enough. They were already what, third or fourth, and they're getting these changes. I think it'll be more than enough.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not fully confident they win the entire thing, including playoffs. I do think they will at least be top 2 in regular season.
Okay.
But I would predict first, because the other 3 I would predict tend to forfun regular season a little bit. So.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Cloud9 just randomly drops games because they're clowns, but they don't. Like,
Cloud9.
They don't.
We have seen
XD.
If C9's the best team, they do tend to try hard regular season. That's very true. So we'll see. Yeah.
All right. Well, so Parth made a tweet and said something about top 5, and he included TSM in that. So we've talked about top 4, and so I guess the next team I want to ask you guys, for 5 is, do you think Parth is right in that TSM is right up there on 5th with some of the moves they made, maybe with some of the drama dying down? So I think this is a good place to go to next, since that's been a controversial take on Twitter, and people have been kind of commenting on it. His reasoning is that he thinks that the infrastructure is there now, and it's set. Things are kind of settling down, and he also thinks just with the rosters, he actually thinks they'll be a 5th place team or better. So what do you guys think about TSM? Do you think they're a 5th place team? Going from 9th.
Sounds like a real bad take.
I know, right?
So how I feel about the new TSM roster, it really comes down to like how good is Maple. Because like I watched him in LPL, he wasn't great, but like that's LPL, right? Someone who's not necessarily that great in LPL doesn't necessarily could be top 4 in NA. Who knows? Honestly, I do think there's enough on that roster. If I could have faith in their coaching staff, I think they would actually be probably a 5th, right? The problem is, I'm going to read that the Riot investigation on TSM is going to come out during the split, and it's going to be a crap show. Somebody's getting like. Reggie might be asked to like step away from League again. Whatever. Stuff is going to be dramatic. I don't think they're going to be 5th. I think they'll probably get like 6th or 7th. They're not going to get 9th again. There's enough on there to not get 9th, but they're not going to get 5th. Is my read.
Okay.
Hooney. Next question.
The Hooney hater. I'm just kidding.
Realistically, I'm with Kevin. I would predict probably 7th. I do think Maple's a pretty big upgrade. They need to figure out what they're doing with support, because recently I heard that Mia is going to be the starting support over Shenyi.
Heard that too, yeah.
Tactical is always a wild card. Spica is also a wild card apparently. So I think there's a lot of moving parts. We just kind of have to see where they go, but I would not. I don't think they're 5th.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they're probably going to be 5th either. I think their peak is 5th. I think if they peak and they're playing their best, that's their peak. But like the take that's 5 and up is just terrible. It's 5 and below, guys.
Yeah.
It's like 5 and below for sure.
Well, it has to be, because they're not one of the top 4. I just don't think you're gonna find anyone who's gonna argue that. Who's like,
I mean, Parth
has
is
a valid
arguing
opinion
that.
on it.
Yeah.
He's arguing they end 5th, right? Or did he say 5 and up?
I thought it was.
Oh, maybe he just said 5th. I don't know.
If it's just 5th, then whatever.
I don't follow Parth on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if Parth says 5 and up, I think that's just.
Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Old man
5
brain.
and below. Yeah, I guess.
But so you're saying 5th is a possibility if they peak like there.
If they peak, yeah. If they're playing like their best, it's possible.
Sure.
Of course. Honestly, if they're playing their best and everybody else starts sucking, they can get first. Anything's possible. But honestly, like, dude, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, you guys are saying probably 7th because of an upgrade. I would not be surprised if this team got 9th again. I just Like
I also wouldn't.
like this team is just like they're not bad. They're just not like great right now, and their org is an absolute dumpster fire. Like, dude, I mean they got Smithy, right? So maybe maybe they're a bit better. I don't know. Like, there's just no way I can.
I guess I should have
Oh
just
wait, I
asked.
forgot they got Smithy. They're coming in first. My favorite player.
Yeah, they got Smithy.
I guess I should have just asked if you think they'll make playoffs. I think that's more of a reasonable question because
The question is who's not going to make playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, that puts them 9th or 10th again. But again, like 9th and 10th, they didn't make playoffs last year. So technically, if they make playoffs, it's an upgrade. they did better. Yeah. So like I said, like even though it's 8 out, top 8 make it. Like I mean, Kevin, Alistair, you both said 7. So assuming you think they make it in playoffs. But Mitchell, you're still kind of on the fence.
I'm pretty on the fence. I think this team could very well just be freaking 9th again. Like, dude, like they were supposed to be good last split too, man. And like, you know what? Tactical Shenny was not a good bot lane. I don't think Tactical Mia is gonna be a good bot lane either, because you know what? The common thing is tactical, not the support. Like, I feel like that's really the issue here.
Oof, yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like, this team also feels like the wins they got, they were cheesing because there wasn't a durability patch. I just don't think. I mean, unless you just get a Giga Scaling Cop every game and the enemy team doesn't have a draft, I don't know, man. This team is way too inconsistent. All their players.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I could see them. I don't know if they'll be fit. I don't even think they could peak that, but I do think they'll make playoffs. Probably 8th place, 7th place. So with that said, though, who do you think is a more likely 5th and 6th, in that area, that range? Because, there are some of these teams have made moves, but here are some teams that you could pick. There's CLG, Dignitas, FlyQuest, Immortals, Golden Guardians. Who do you think hits that 5-6 mark? Kevin, let's start with you.
I mean, for me, I think FlyQuest is the easiest 5th. They lost to EG, so we were kind of clowning them at first, and then EG proceeded to do even better against the other teams. So it's like, oh, maybe FlyQuest is a little bit more legit than we gave them credit for. They had more time to synergize and change up the roster, so I think Fly for sure for 5th. And then for 6th place, I would personally think that, and this one's kind of a shot in the dark in my mind, but I would think that the Immortals team might be better. I think Kemi's a hype jungler, so having a jungler is just great. Revenge did have some like good times, even though he was on the worst team. But like as a solo lane, it's just hard, right? PoE is PoE, whatever. They got lost onto that team, and I think with Ignar as the new support as well, I think that's enough. I think that's enough to get you 6th. It's not a high bar to clear, guys. It's 6th place in the LCS. Yeah. So in my mind, I think that has enough new blood and energy that could be good. If Dig on paper should be there in my mind, but they're just not. They're not well coached, or like I don't know what's the leadership on that team, but they just crash and burn every time. So I'm not betting on them for 6 at the end of the split or at the end of the playoffs.
Okay.
I actually have the same picks as Kevin.
Whoa.
I think FlyQuest is 5th, pretty much same reason, and Immortals. I think I've personally been holding the opinion that I don't think Loss is actually that bad. He's just kind of had unfortunate situations a lot of the time. I think he gets more flack than he deserves, and definitely having a team around him like this will definitely prove whether my faith has been whether I've been right or not. Though Kevin mentioned him, Kenvi, he's someone I've been talking about and I mentioned multiple times in the podcast before. Yep. I personally think is very, very good. Every time I've seen him, he has not disappointed. I'm just hoping he can continue that into his LCS career. I think in my opinion, he's one of the most hype pickups that we have in the LCS, if not just the most exciting, in my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually going to put Immortals 5th, and then FlyQuest 6th. Mostly because I don't know how Philip's going to work out. Some people are saying he's going to be better in the long run. I don't really know him at all, so I have no idea. So I would just knock down, honestly, FlyQuest down for that, just because, like, I don't know, new roster. They were pretty good, pretty, like, solid and consistent, and, like, their top lane was a weakness, but it did feel like Kumo is pretty relevant for their team, though, in terms of, like, just team fighting and like being on the right kind of champion. So, I mean, he was a role player for sure, and I don't know if Philip's gonna do the same thing. So I'll probably just put him 6th. You know, Immortals 5th. Yeah, I think Immortals is kind of hype. I actually really love Ignar. He was on that old FlyQuest roster.
Yeah.
Back together then with PoE. Same with Misfits too. So I always love those guys. I had a soft spot for those guys. Always been a secret PoE lover, of course. That sounded so weird.
Yeah, it did. Intro.
Always, huh? How strong are those feelings, Mitchell?
I mean,
do you need a
hey,
ticket
man.
down to LA?
Just I got a Gnash's tooth for him. Just kidding.
Nice.
I like this team a lot. I hope that they do well. My only issue, of course, is the Immortals organization is pretty booty. Ever since they left left LCS and came back, they've always been pretty booty. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's Immortals 5th, FlyQuest 6th for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't mention this, but do you think with Trisha stepping down as CEO of FlyQuest, which just got announced recently, I don't know if that really, but does that affect I don't think that affects the team. I know I wanted to put that out there because it is pretty big news, but I don't know how much that affects, the team per se.
I mean, I have a high opinion of Trisha. I followed her when she was a StarCraft streamer. She's been in esports for longer than a lot of people in the scene have been. And I think she did a really good job with FlyQuest.
Sure.
When FlyQuest joined this damn league, we were just like, what the heck is a FlyQuest? Like, this is the worst branded team, period. And now they have an identity, They're the environment team. They're, like, friendly. Like, there's, like, some fans of FlyQuest. Like, people are fans of FlyQuest. There are not really fans of Dignitas, like, other than the old brand, right? Or fans of Immortal the same way. So I think it does matters a lot for a team, like, in terms of just, like, the spirit of the team. It depends on who's replacing that leadership and who's, like, choosing the people who will lead that team. FlyQuest has done a really good job for a lot of years now, and that does come down from the top. Like, yeah, does Reggie do anything at TSM, right? Like the other very famous CEOs. Like, he might, like, right? Like, you see the team kind of going into crap when people around Reggie who may not directly, like, for example, Lena leaves, right? Lena's not in the league team. She's not the coach. Parth leaves, yes, that's obviously a big deal, but all these people leave around it, right? So Trisha leaving could be a big deal. Shoot, I kind of want to switch. Well, I'll stick with it, but we'll see. I would not be surprised if FlyQuest is 6th. I forgot about CEO.
I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter. They'll be in playoffs. It's fine. There'll still be playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, I echo what you guys say. I'm excited for this Immortals roster. Actually, this is probably the most exciting roster moves, for me at least, more so than the C9 one. I actually want to see Kenvi and the reuniting of Power of Evil and Ignar. And like Alistair said, I also don't think Lost is as bad as everybody says they are, and I think paired with Ignar could be a really good fit. So I'm the same with Mitchell. I think Immortals is 5th, and I'm actually rooting for that. And then FlyQuest is 6th. I think FlyQuest is still good. I don't think Trisha.
If they get 10th again, I'm so sad.
Yeah, I don't think.
So am I. FlyQuest and Immortals have been the two teams I've been like cheering for behind the scenes because I want them to be be Yeah.
I mean, I hope so.
They don't.
I really hope so. I do think that this is a. This is a good-looking roster. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for Kenvi again. Just getting any talent from NA and moving them up into the LCS is really awesome. So then we move down to like the possibly TSM tier team. So now we got Dignitas, possibly Golden Guardians here, really, and then CLG is the other one. So. I guess we're kind of
like that. I don't like those letters.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so CLG does have Dokla now as their top laner. They also have Contracts, Palafox, Luger, Poom. So it's not a terrible roster. I don't know about Dignitas. They got rid of Fake God. They have Gamsu now from their academy. River, Blue, Neo, and Biofrost. Yeah, I don't know. And Golden Guardians, they've replaced Lost with Stixay. So pick your poison there. Who's not last, basically, because that's basically where we're at. Like, who is not last? Or maybe you could say who is last. Like, whatever you want to do.
So in my mind, I mean, Gold Guardians finished last season 6th, guys. Like, they weren't that bad. They were a playoffs team. So for me, I do think that the TSM like turmoil and the upgrades should put them 7th. So I'll stick with them 7th. I probably hate myself later. And I think Golden Guardians is 8 after that. The Dignitas, we'll get to that. I'll talk about them when we get to that last tier. But this is the bottom of playoffs. So I think TSM 7th.
Bottom of playoffs, 7th and 8th.
Yeah. TSM, right, is 7th. I think Maple is a big upgrade. I don't care that he was bad in LPL. There's been so many players who have been like kind of middling to like okay in other leagues that come here and they just look great. It's not a coincidence, guys. The level of mid play especially is way lower here. Like in LPL, there's like Knight, Rookie, just like even Xiaohu. Like Xiaohu's not a top mid there, and he's like looking really good on the international stage. So I think Maple will be fine, guys. He has so much history, and unless he's here to retire, then TSM's screwed.
Yeah,
which is possible. So it might have been like the bag is there, go take it, and then come back after one split. So yeah, that's my 7th. 8th place, GGS. Like they're a good team. I think like Stixay over Lost. Stixay is the kind of player they'll probably want, just like someone who just sits there. He doesn't int often. Well, historically, he doesn't int as often as Lost does. I think Lost is probably a better prospect for the future. But like Stixay was coaching him throughout the split. He probably was like they probably saw him like I think Stixay's a better player for what our team needs, and that's good. That's good enough. I think this team should have enough. Prize Soccer was so good last split, in my opinion. So I think this team will get 8th. Like
okay.
I mean,
so good.
It's the playoff cutoff, so yeah. I mean, it's 8.
They got 6 last season. They had a 50% win rate. That is pretty damn okay for that roster. So
okay, cool. Alistair?
It's hard to differentiate between 8 and 9. I think. I mean, I'm just gonna say I think Golden Guardians is gonna be 8th.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna say Dig 9. It's hard because it feels weird putting Golden Guardians that low when they upgraded their top laner and didn't change anything else, and they were a middle of the pack team last split. But I feel like other teams, they just kind of had better upgrades. I mean, I think it's also very possible that you could swap where Golden Guardians and Immortals are. That's also very possible, just depending on how that goes. And it hurts me to say this. Now, just from personal experience, I think CLG is in for another 10th place. It hurts to say that because they were one of the organizations who helped out in LA due to COVID regulations. So CLG actually hosted some of the teams. That's why I was saying in the chat, like I can't sit here and flame CLG as much as I did because I have a lot of respect for them for that.
But you're a pundit, man. You can't be friends. I'm just kidding. Can't be friends with people in the league. I'm just kidding.
I never said I was.
We're casuals.
I never said I was
That's friends.
I'm just saying I can't sit here and just shit talk them permanently. Like I respect them for that.
I mean, I don't think you're necessarily, doing that. You're just kind of I mean, honestly.
No, I'm just saying.
I got you, Alistair. I'll do it for you. It's fine.
There you go.
Just lame. Just
type.
I'll do it. It would sit wrong with me if I sat here and I just.
He's just lowering the flame. I got it.
It's good to have standards, Alistair. I
like it. Respect.
CLG Alistair in the future. Right now. We called it years ago, and it's already happening. The seeds have been placed. You guys have met, and you like each other. That's it. That's all you need for some love. So get in there, CLG Alistair. Yeah, for me, 7th is not TSM, right? It's Golden Guardians is 7th. 8th is. I'll put TSM there, and then
okay.
Yeah, and then I'm on the same CLG 10th, baby. That's just like I don't care that they upgraded top lane, dude. Contracts is so bad. I'm sorry, man. Contracts is really just the most coin flip guy. He is going to get you some wins, and he's gonna lose you so many games. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's just it. I also think, right, like he's gonna go into this durability patch. He's already terrible at like judging his damage and thinking he can get out. It's just gonna be even worse. He's not gonna get that one shot that he goes for randomly, and he's gonna die, and his team's gonna fall behind so fast, and they're gonna get choked out. Like this team's gonna be really rough, I think. So
yeah. My 9 and 10 are Dignitas and CLG. Actually, I don't think Dignitas's roster is that bad. I think, Alistair, you mentioned it. I just think other teams got better upgrades. So I don't know. I don't know if that necessarily means our league is competitive. I just think in the bottom, it's just kind of, it's like a different. It's like there's two
the bottom is
leagues.
competitive.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's like the top 4.
Yes.
And then it's kind of like everyone else. Which,
Yeah.
hey, that's an upgrade from the top 2. So
That's true.
It's true. Yeah.
But like it is almost two different like kind of storylines. You got the top 4 or whatever duking it out for Worlds, and then you have the kind of bottom half, which are more development rosters and trying new things, which I don't mind. And so to me, the interesting matchups will be when they face each other, not necessarily when, you know, Immortals faces, well, actually Immortals versus like TL would be pretty hype, but you know, even Immortals versus let's say FlyQuest, that's a good game. You know, I'd like to see that. So, I mean, I think that's fair, you know, that our league is kind of divided up like that. You know, it's something to definitely look forward to. And who knows, you might see bright spots that then maybe move on to these upper echelon teams. So, okay, we've pretty much gone through the roster then. Is there anything overall that you want to talk about roster-wise or team-wise or organization-wise? Any maybe dark horse storylines that we're not seeing that maybe you're theorizing or anything like that? Just wanted to see. I wanted to make sure we got it all out before we moved on.
Yeah, I wanted to really quickly mention that TSM won like 3 of their last like 5 games at the end of the split last year, and so they ended the split with 5 wins, right? Like they got a positive win rate in the last 2 weeks, and I think that Maple's an upgrade over Takeover. I think Takeover was very serviceable. The second they got a serviceable mid laner, it looked like they could win games. So upgrading that mid laner, it'll take a little time, right? He doesn't speak English fluently, I would assume. Probably similar to Sword Art, and that will take time. But I think that is a big upgrade for a team that, like, yeah, Huni might not be great, but like I actually think he's still better than some of the bottom team's top laners, at least based off of like what we've seen. And yeah, I have no idea what's going on with their bot lane, but I think TSM is like, they could get 5th, and like we will just be like, what the heck? I think it has more to do with who the heck is their head coach and who's their support staff. If they don't have stability in that yet, then they're gonna flop.
Yeah.
But
I mean, also
like they were getting it together last split. Like that's
I mean, also you got to remember they still have Spica. Like Spica is, you know, he's not far removed.
You have a good solo laner, at least one. You don't have to have both, but ideally you have both. Your jungler looks better. This is a fact. We have observed this over and over. Junglers suddenly get a power up. When Jensen shows up, Blabber's gonna look good. Okay?
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Fudge, I'm not gonna lie, Fudge, it was not always that great in mid lane. He was okay, he's decent especially for one split. But when Summit was crapping the bed, oh my god, Blabber looked bad, right? And so with that
compare Spica looked with K-Duo.
Yeah.
He couldn't ever play the game. His mid
it
was
looked
just
like they didn't speak
dead.
the same language.
Yeah.
Even though they did, those were the two that did.
Like I completely admit that, and I think, I mean, I do. The reason I still said that I think Spica's wild card is because like that happened is his mental gone, you know? Because like he went from playing with Bjergsen to playing with K-Duo, so like one of the best mids to one of the worst mids. Actually, no, he was the worst mid that split by a pretty large margin, and I feel like, you know, his mental might not.
He's gonna get the Bjergsen of LMS, so you know, good enough, right?
I mean, that's not even my main concern with TSM and why I'm putting them so low. My main concern is just that their bot lane's gonna be really bad, and that they're gonna mental boom, and it's gonna affect the rest of the team. And bot lane's probably the most important lane in this current meta right now. So I just, I mean, sure, all those things could definitely happen, but like you just can't fix the bot lane unless they magically improve, right? Tactical has been giving some of the worst performances like week after week since like randomly in the middle of Team Liquid like last year. Like this guy's been a huge decline. It doesn't seem he's getting any better. They picked up some wins at the end because they're almost out, and they have that like we can play freely sort of mentality, right? Like you can definitely write those off too, as other teams even underestimating them. So
Well, they
I
also
don't know.
just kind of played whatever, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they play 2 games of like Huni randomly playing Rumble Top, which hasn't been good
Yeah.
for 2 years?
With
Like,
Yeah.
And they
Ignite,
won.
yeah.
They won at least one of them. So
I know, I agree with you, but at the same time, that's not something you really do as much anymore because of durability patch,
Yeah, that doesn't work.
right?
Sure. Guys, we're arguing if they're getting 7th place in the league. They only
I
needed
know,
one more win
I'm-
last
I-
split to get 7th. That's
Yeah.
all I'm
They're,
saying.
they're,
It's
they're
not
bad.
that-
Is all I'm saying. That's
We're
if
fighting
there's
more
any-
about these
if-
placements than the top 3.
Well, yeah, because the
I-
top 3 is almost given.
Yeah.
If
Is it though?
anybody
We all have
is
different
like,
top 3s.
yeah, we do have all different, but I mean, they're all the same hodgepodge of
Yeah.
same
Yeah,
it's all
four
the
teams,
same.
though. Yeah, it's
Interchangeable.
the same 4 teams just switched into the top 3. And honestly, none of us are going to be surprised if the person we put 4th is first, right? We're just not going to be,
Yeah.
because like playoffs is so different. Anything could happen in a best of 5. Dude, the meta is going to be so weird in 2.5 months. I bet we're just gonna have no idea what the meta's like. So anything could happen.
It's better than LCK last split, where it was how much is T1 going to win by? And is Genji going to take a game for a whole split? That's all we had to watch. So,
Yeah.
Do we get to see carry a try hard or play a fun champion like Rumble with Ghost Cleanse?
Yeah. Oh my god. It's so sad, dude. What
Yeah.
happened?
All right. Well,
They lost
I mean,
integrity.
let's dive into, since we've been talking about the biggest thing and one of the hypest things is this durability patch and seeing how it's going to affect pro play. So now that we've had a lot of time, I'd like to get your thoughts real quick on what you think is good, what you think we might see in the pro scene, and just get your thoughts from there. If there's any overarching themes, whether it be items, whether it be roles that are strong. Then feel free to share that. You can even share picks that you think are going to be highly prioritized. So let's do that.
I think that the best bot laner is going to be like the highlight of this season. That's my take. I watched last season. Uzi came back for a couple of games and he just got blown the crap up. Like he was just like playing Jinx and then he just got 2-shot. And I'm like, what do you do about that? Like no matter what your mechanics are, like what do you do about it? Like Nautilus ults you and then like they just hit you with the burst mage or whatever,
Should
right?
have been in base. Yeah.
In my opinion, Hansama Core JJ overall should be the best bot lane duo combined. There are some players like Danny at his peak better, right? Or like Berserker is a good player, but like when's he coming back? I am not betting on a player that's not coming back. Like I've seen Core JJ be late multiple splits, and he just like it's hard. It's really hard, even on veteran teams, right? And this isn't a veteran team. C9 is kind of. My point is, I think that Hansam is going to have a lot more chances to be a superstar player on this team. And I think he's going to shine on the split, especially with Core at the start. And like there won't even be that much competition with Berserker not being there from the start. Danny Vulcan, like great at like game, great at mid game, but like they're still the worst laners on this face of the earth. Like they're probably like in like the bottom 4 of our league in terms of laners. We have some pretty good AD carries actually, even at the bottom teams. And so that lead, like there's less volatility, right? So these super good AD carries at laning will be able to push it further is how I feel. Yeah, so I think the stars will be the AD carries of this season unless they just nerf the crap out of it halfway through, like screw you guys. Bjergsen, Jensen are back. We have a narrative to fill, so Bjergsen versus Jensen, let's go.
Buff a collie.
AD carries will be the most important part. We'll have a lot of plate for like weak side tops. And I think that Hansam and Core JJ were already really good. They didn't have the best playoff showing, but they were already really good for most of the split. And I think when you have more room to make mistakes, like you should be able to hyper carry easier.
Yeah. Okay. Alistair, you got I know you got thoughts.
Yeah. The one thing I do want to say is I don't think, aside from bot lane, I don't actually think a lot is going to change.
Okay.
I think the rest of the map is still going to stay very similar on the champions that are picked type thing. Like the quad pen mage build is still super broken. Death Stance is still super broken. Aurelia still super broken. Akali's still super broken. Viego's still super broken. So I actually think that it is going to be fairly similar. I just think like the way, or like what's going to be prioritized will be different. I do think we are going to see. Actually, that might not be true. I'm curious to see how teams play around dives now, because towers Because it's going to be starting at 12:10, correct? Not 12:11.
I believe so. They're not going to have the nerfed buffed towers. I think it's the
Yeah. So
Wait,
towers.
really? Then there's no Zeri buffs, right?
Yeah, Zeri buffs are
not
12:11.
yet.
What? No, I want to see
Yeah,
Zeri.
because
Oh
I
my
watched the whole
God.
LPL. I will quickly interject. Kale and Fiora were two of the most picked things in LPL. That was not the case. No universe was
Yeah.
not the case before that. So like there were some
That's
changes
true.
because Fiora was a big winner on this patch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are
Fiora,
individual
was pretty big.
champions in other roles. I mean, Gangplank is still the most broken champion
Super
in the game
busted.
behind Karma.
So stupid. Yep.
LeagueDad's been spamming gameplay. I
I've
see
been
that.
spamming
I mean,
Still working on them combos.
that champ needs to be gutted.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, for 80 carries, I think we're gonna see a lot of variety. I don't think we're gonna. I wouldn't put any teams past picking anything except for maybe Varus, Draven, and Caitlyn. I think those are probably the 3 worst 80 carries in the game right now.
Hmm.
Really?
Actually, so it's 12:10. So Zeri's also down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Draven was picked a
other-
lot in LPL as well. I'm just basing off watching the first couple. Like
Caitlyn?
he's got
Really?
picked
12-10?
Draven was picked
Oh,
6 times.
Draven.
Caitlyn was never picked. Who picks Caitlyn?
Yeah.
But
No,
Draven was
Caitlyn's been
picked
bad
6
for a
times. I mean,
long
Jackie
time.
loves in that league, and some other Huangfen also picked it. So
Yeah, so I mean, Draven, maybe, I don't know. And North America does not have very many good Dravens who are also pro players and not.
Mhm.
do we have a
Solo
pro
queue
Draven
players.
player?
We did.
Arrow's a Draven player.
Yeah,
I know that,
that's what I was gonna say.
but
Yep.
Yeah.
he's not starting.
We've had Draven
I don't
players
think so.
before, but yeah, I don't think
We've
we
only
have
had a
one
few
right
because
now.
we've had like Arrow, Sneaky.
Oh, Sneaky with the good
Yeah,
one.
Sneaky was a Draven
Yeah.
player. Yes, we've only had a handful. I think
He
Hansama's
was.
kind of
played.
slept on.
Hansama's played Draven.
Oh,
on
Hansama's
Rogue,
played
I'm pretty
Draven.
sure.
Right,
in EU.
Hansama's a
Yeah.
Draven player. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so,
it all comes together. We're snowballing, boys. I can't wait.
yeah, but at the same time, why would you put Hansama on Draven when you could just put him on Kog'Maw?
Yeah.
True.
Freaking Senna, man. Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
I like Draven. I like watching Draven a lot, even when he loses.
I
It's
love
just
watching
fun.
Draven, but I also love
Yeah.
watching Kog'Maw because Kog'Maw's just stupid.
Kog'Maw
The
is
champ,
stupid.
I just think the champ's like dumb. Not like it has nothing to do with his gameplay, nothing to do with his spells, but he's just like this stupid little void worm who spits on you, and
Yeah.
like does like the military
Explodes.
wake up song. I think he's stupid. And I think he's hilarious, and I love the champ for it.
That's funny.
That's my take.
Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
I'm really afraid that we're gonna get the really dumb meta breaking stuff like Frostfire Kog'Maw, because this is pre nerfs that he gets on 12-11, which were pretty large.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I would not be surprised if someone early picks a Kog'Maw, the enemy team picks properly and they do a dive comp, or they pick a comp that outranges him to beat the Kog'Maw, and he goes Frostfire and completely just nullifies all that
Yeah.
stuff. So that's really scary for me. I think Kog'Maw, yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's gonna be like first pick, but he's gonna be like a very influential like comp piece, right? Like you get a Lulu or something in there, like that's just, I mean, I don't know how you beat that on this patch on 12-10. The next thing is Senna. I think Senna is gonna be probably, I think Senna TK. Someone's gonna ban one or the other. I think it's gonna be probably the strongest bot lane, or Senna with maybe some other support. I don't know right now, but I think that'll be one of the most contentious bot lanes, especially for teams that are known Senna teams, right? Like 100 Thieves, TL plays a lot of Tom Kench, even C9, right?
Yeah.
They Sven's played a lot of Senna TK stuff, so those teams I think are going to prioritize that, and I think bot lane is just going to be the most important, impactful lane. Beyond that, though, there are specific champions, like you're saying. Yeah, Viego's still going to be really good, but specific champs that we saw all the time are not going to be in it at all. Like Lee Sin, really bad this on 12-10, right? He doesn't get buffed until 12-11, where you can actually play him. But we're not going to see any Lee Sin, so that's going to be a big change for a lot of junglers, right? So someone like Kemvi, really, really big Lee Sin player, not going to be able to really get him and be effective, so we'll see what he plays. Top lane, I think, is really interesting because tanks are actually not buffed yet with their 100 HP, whatever. So tanks are super garbage in top lane on this patch. And I actually think it's just gonna be a bunch of fighters up there and bruisers, maybe some mages up there, and then Leandri's users. They get nerfed by like a ton on 12-11, right? So these guys are really cracked too. I think Leandri users can be the biggest mid laners. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Anivia. She's super strong on with the Leandri before the Leandri changes happened. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a really interesting patch. I think it's gonna be if the best, smartest teams can like I think that the best thing is going to be to just play crazy scaling late game, but not teams aren't necessarily going to opt into that because if you're a good team playing against a bad team, like you just might not want to do that because it's just too easy. Maybe you want to practice other stuff because it's not the patch that's coming out, right? Because the next patch changes a lot of things in the meta, right, with Zeri and stuff. So, I honestly just hate that this patch is that we're playing on 12-10 because I've been playing on 12-11 and everybody's been playing on 12-11 and it was a massive patch.
Yeah,
changed the meta completely. So
we may be wrong. I tried looking around. Nowhere, not even like on Reddit or the official site, like nowhere is making it clear what patch we're starting on.
That's unfortunate because it's just kind of useless to talk about 12-10
You're
that
right.
much, right?
Yeah.
In literally like a week it's 12-11 and that's the big patch where so many champions come up and start doing stuff, right?
Yeah.
Especially Zeri, gonna be the most influential champ on 12-11. So
yeah, that's true.
We'll see. Whatever.
I mean, we'll definitely hit it again next week because again, that's a big change. So whenever that happens, we have to talk about it. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but it is interesting, like I said, because with the durability patch, even though it's not on 12-11, it does change the game quite a bit. And so I think that's what we were talking about, or you guys were talking about, was making you hype is this durability patch. And again, because it can develop, throughout the split, like it's going to be crazy because the meta could be different, at the end of the split than it is now. So we're going to have to constantly, follow that and see how the meta shapes up.
I actually do think it's going to be on 12-11, just by judging of the way Riot usually makes it work. Because 12-11 dropped this past Wednesday, correct? A week tomorrow.
Yeah, a week ago.
So realistically, and it starts this coming weekend, correct?
I think it'll be 12-11.
Right?
That
So it should be 12-11.
Okay.
I hope so.
Cool.
Please. If
I
it's
hope
12-11,
so.
Zeri's the most broken champion.
Okay, there.
That
Heard it here first.
would make more sense.
Zeri players unite because oh my gosh, she's so busted on 12-11.
Yeah,
She's so good.
I didn't know anything about it because the patch dropped when I was in LA. And I got back today and started playing a few Zeri games. Her W actually does something. It's actually a real spell.
People, man.
It's insane.
Dude, Lux wishes she had that W, dude. It's not okay.
It's nuts. Like it actually does something. I mean, it does a lot of things.
It does a lot of things. It does your taxes, gives you a mortgage.
It hurts,
like it's
bro. I've been maxing it second on her.
Yeah.
But I also
Okay.
do want to. I do. It's not necessarily pro related necessarily. I do also want to give Riot some props for listening to the community and not buffing all the like lethality items and stuff like that and actually taking those out. I want to give them props for that. That was definitely the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I actually forgot to mention a ton of champions that we actually are very important. Talia and Olaf. Sorry, those are like two really important champions. Yeah, and Swain. Yeah, these three champions are actually really important. Especially Talia because it's mid jungle flex. They're both very good.
True.
Especially on 12-11, her jungle got buffed, so it's actually going to be one of the strongest picks in the game. When Talia's good, she's just broken. OP. Yeah, champ's broken, right? So Talia is going to be nuts. Everybody's going to pick her, whether it's 12-10 or 12-11. If it's 12-10, it's just mid lane. If it's 12-11, it's both. But she's a bit weaker at mid. Olaf, if it's 12-10, it's just top lane, completely broken. If it's 12-11, it's both. Still pretty broken, still really strong. Swain, actually, I've never seen Swain in my game, so I have nothing on him. But
he was played once in LPL, I believe. Oh no, he's played 9 times. I miscounted.
Oh my god, so Swain is broken. He's played 9 times.
Second most played in mid lane. Only Olaf hasn't shown up, surprisingly, and I thought LPL would pick Olaf.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it's just too easy for pro players to stop watch Olaf, honestly.
Maybe. Yeah. That could be it. Maybe Olaf is a complete miss. We never know. But definitely in solo queue, Olaf is busted as hell. Swain, okay, if he's already played that much in LPL, I mean, he does get nerfed on 12-11, but that champ is very good. That champ is really, really strong. I think the durability patch, he's a big winner of the durability patch too.
Booga booga.
I mean, just like there's just so many changes. You could see anything, right? I think Gwen's gonna fall off. The nerfs in 12-11 were pretty big. They hurt kind of a lot, just with I don't know. It feels like so many top laners got a ton of stuff, and she just did okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lilia. Lilia is gonna be pretty good. Pretty good jungler, really, really fast. This is gonna be exciting, guys.
Stupid.
Frozen Hope.
That Frozen Heart build is so stupid, dude. Oh my god,
dude.
We
Lilia's
could
so
go into
strong.
it forever.
We could
Anyways.
Veigar, I don't know. Wukong is still broken, right? So he's
Yeah.
still gonna be there. Like, honestly, there's so many things that happened in 12-11 that I think like make it even more interesting than 12-10. So we could get so much stuff. We could get Silas, like we get so much stuff in 12-11. So it's really
Yeah, I mean, what it is I think because there's so many viabilities, so many options. What the interesting thing will be is to really see what teams prioritize, or how they pick ban, because there are a lot of options, and so maybe we'll see some new stuff having to be played because priorities, they're so deep on a lot of the roles. So that I think is what will be the most interesting to me. Any final thoughts on patch or meta stuff? Okay, because the last
Riot.
Yeah, props to Riot.
I can't wait.
Exactly. I wanted to finish off by promoting a little bit. We mentioned Fantasy LCS a couple episodes ago, but I think something better is this Pickems that we have going on, hosted and held by one of our fellow listeners. I consider him a friend, and it's Kimmer. And so he's been a long time in the Discord. He actually, basically it's just a Pickems every week, and it's like a Google form. You just pick your teams, who you think's going to win. Real simple, real easy, and he'll track it, and he'll do it every week. And at the end, I believe there's a prize. Let me bust out my Discord here, because I feel like
$50 or $100 RP or something.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, it's for something, and it's fun, right? And it's less work, right? Because Fantasy LCS is a lot of stuff you got to do there. Here, you just pick your teams, and so I think that's really fun. So if you want to be a part of that, he said there's no limit. It's really up to you if you want to participate. If you miss a week, though, then you don't get any points. So if you want to, play, then make sure that you consistently do it every week. So my recommendation to you is, one, contact him. You can DM him on Twitter at K1MM3R1. I know it's really confusing. At K1MM3R1. And if you go to our Discord, you'll see him anyways. So if he's in the Discord, you can send him a message, and he'll post in the Discord as well. Maybe we'll make him a channel just separate for the Pickems, but should be really fun. I'm pretty excited, and he's going to get it out soon for this week, so be on the lookout for that on Discord as well, because he'll get it out and we can get our Pickems in. So
yeah, and you can reach out to any of us, right?
Yep.
And if you want in, because you could go to wherever you're watching this, listen to this, you can just put it in the comments or something.
Yeah, exactly.
YouTube or something. So
I mean, we'll definitely see it, because we appreciate the 3 comments we get. We appreciate every interaction, because honestly, we just love talking about League, to be honest. Like, we're just fans who love talking about the team, our league, and so we want to talk with other fans.
Much.
Yeah, maybe a little too much. Maybe we have no life. Who knows? That's probably more the case. I don't care. I don't care. I love this. I love this game. So if you like chatting about it, then please, by all means, we're ready to talk about it always. Any final thoughts about anything at all League related? All right, Kevin.
Yeah, 2 things. Quick, the teaser, really good this split. I thought it was really cool. A lot of nostalgia. Props to them. They finally made a good teaser. It's been a while, I feel like.
Yeah.
The other thing, actually, really big news. League and a lot of Riot's games are going to Game Pass, and they're unlocking all of the characters for Xbox Game Pass users. That's crazy, guys. Like, a lot of the people who want to play this game, who aren't us, right? Who just own every character they ever wanted and have too much blue essence. It's a big turnoff. You just turn in the game. You have 8 character, or I think it's 16 now, and there's a rotation, sure, but you just can't. It takes so long to buy a character, or you could have Game Pass, which a lot of people already do, and just get every character. Or it's the same for Valorant. You get every character in Valorant, some of the little legends for TFT, and then foundation set for Legends of Runeterra or something. But the League is a big deal. It's the same for Wild Rift. I think we're gonna see a small wave of people who own Game Pass, have heard about League, but just like the barrier to entry was way too high before. Like it's so prohibitive in this game. Dota doesn't even. I don't think you have to unlock characters in Dota 2. Last time I played, you had everything. So like, I don't get what League is doing, but it's a big deal.
Yeah. You could be the next Danny. So get that Game Pass. Download
Get that
the
Game
I mean,
Pass.
you're listening to this podcast. So
I don't own any characters, but I went pro. AMA.
AMA. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. I have one last thing. Belveth, if she's on 12-11, I don't think she will see any play for anybody who's excited. I think she's really, I wouldn't say bad, just very one-dimensional and super easy to counter. So I guess bad is the right.
She's budget Kindred.
I feel like she's like modern Master Yi. Like she just stacks up, tries to like she can smurf and low elo, but like there's a lot of fundamental issues with her right now. And if they really overbuff her, she can only be played in pro in her current state if she's like broken.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so too.
She'll be broken at some time this split. I would be highly surprised.
Kevin agrees. He's coughing so much right now. He's like, he got choked up.
I'm pretty sure in 2 months, Belveth is going to be super broken. I mean, there's already memes about, we don't think our champs are overloaded, but Belveth is by far the most overloaded thing ever in the game. It's not even close. She has everything except for a kitchen sink, bro.
Honestly, I was watching the champion spotlight. I was like, what is Freak saying? I'm like, I don't. It's too much.
Same boat. I didn't pay any attention to her release because she's not for my role, and I didn't think she was that interesting. And then I watched the champion spotlight, and I'm just staring at it, like, what the actual hell are they thinking?
Yeah.
Who designed this? And who?
You need a degree to read her abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need a league.
I'm just watching. It's like, okay, so she has 4 dashes in every range. She has old Galio ult for some reason. She has infinitely stacking attack speed that can go over the cap like old Kog'Maw W.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's Yorick, but better.
She also suffers from like if you kill one of her early camps, she just loses the game. Like if she doesn't get her stacks, because the way she's so weak right now, it's like if you don't touch her and she like just farms up and she maybe gets a random kill, she just takes over the game by herself. But like you literally take one of her early camps, she's just like, oh, I actually don't have enough to like kill my camp. She's so weird and snowbally like that. And then the Yorick thing, dude, that's gotta be changed. Oh my god. Like the little minion voidling things, they just kill turrets. It's just not even fair.
Although playing GP a lot, I just ult that sucker and it feels real good.
You just farm them, with your barrels. Yeah. But such a weird champion. I mean, I'm personally excited if it does get to LCS because it's gonna be the stupidest thing watching her just like go in a circle and just like kill everybody. It's like the derpiest champion we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
She's funny.
Diego wasn't broken enough.
Yeah.
This is just like the weirdest freaking champion we've gotten in a while. I kind of love it just because of like the animation of her going sicko mode on people. It's just really funny.
Yeah.
But good stuff, Riot. Just make it more broken. I don't even care, man. Make the next champion freaking have 27 dashes. I don't know.
For the sake, I need another simple champion, man. As I get older, I don't got time to read a novel for the abilities, okay, and the passives and the interactions. I just
you gotta
need
get on the
point and click.
Volibear hype train, man.
Yo. Yeah,
that stuff is broken. And
that's
so
true.
Easy.
It is really cool. I don't know why I'm trying to play GP, and it's honestly very hard. But for some reason, I keep coming back to it because I think what it is certain champs have things that are just so satisfying that when you do it, it's worth it. It's worth all the struggle. So hitting a barrel chain,
GP is so satisfying.
Yeah, so satisfying. Like Thresh Hook, so sad. Nami Bubble, so satisfying. Those are champs that I like playing because it's just Lee Sin.
Yes, the difficult champion. No.
Dude, Lee Sin
is
so satisfying to one shot and 80 carry.
Yeah.
It's so fun playing Lee Sin, man. I'm so glad they buffed him because he was actually so bad in 12-10.
Yeah.
Veigar.
Veigar. Hey, man.
High skill.
I love
High
it.
skill ulti.
Yeah.
Karthus. The gameplay. The first strike, baby.
I love playing first strike.
Oh,
so
man.
Dumb.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we did it, guys. We had a really good preview episode. We talked about teams. We talked about durability patch. We talked about Pickems. So that's it.
TSM
that's
number
it.
1.
TSM number one,
guys.
We're back.
Come on.
We're back.
Recording? Oh shoot!
Oh, whoops!
No.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Did they believe it?
Did they fall for it, guys? Okay. Anyway, so thank you.
Returns to TSM.
Hey,
Oh
you never know, man.
TSM League Dad.
If TSM gets 5th, I just might flip back over. I don't know. We'll see. No, I don't think it's gonna happen. Never gonna happen. All right. Well, that's gonna do it. Thank you again to my co-hosts Kevin, Mitchell, Alistair. Thank you so much for your wise thoughts and insights. But until next time, enjoy your climb on the rift. Try not to be too toxic, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Peace.